Good morning. Good morning. No, that's not. Well, it could be me, but it's not me. I am not a pig, but that is today's headline stories that we will get to later. Can pork be made kosher? Jewish scholars think so, thinks it's possible. So there you go. Can pork be made kosher? Jewish scholars thinks it's possible. Yes, yes, yes. It is possible that after thousands of years of not being able to eat pork, the Jewish scholars now think it's possible. This news headline and more later on, sometime during the broadcast this morning. So we'll be back right after this. No, we're going to be back after. Oh, we're going to be back after this. Let's do.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Yes, 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 yes. Someday I'll figure out. No, well, I like to just go from one thing to another, and who knows? Who who knows which way I'll go at any given time, today or tomorrow or any day. Hi, my name is Mark David Smith, and this is the Compass of kraM. And as you can see right there, that's Compass of kraM right there. And this is the Messianic Lamb network. Let's see if I can't make that happen. Messianic Lamb. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that down there at the bottom. See, you can't not know who we are now or where we go anymore. Because Mr. John Craig has turned me on to this little ticker tape thing that goes along there, and we got even more stuff that we want to do with that. And so today is January 15th, 2020. I'm 65 years old, so how far I expect to be able to be in 20, a long ways in the future. And so at the beginning of the show, can you believe that? Can pork be made kosher? My gosh, this is just going to be an absolutely amazing new year if this can happen, don't you think? I don't know. I guess it's an individual preference. All right. Well, what I like to do, I always like to start this off with my show as I'm kind of developing. This is my third show. And as I'm developing through these shows, I am also developing a certain format of what I want to do and how I want to put it together. And so one of the things I do like to do is we do words. And I get this email every single day, 7 days a week from, and who is it? Let me take a look here. See, I get this from Dr. Goodword. Dr. Goodword. And if you like words, I highly suggest go to drgoodword.com and sign up to get a new word every day. Now, some of these words I know. I've heard of, I already know the definition of, and some of them I don't. There's about 50-50 in there somewhere. And so what I do is in my email, I have these folders. So I have a folder that says words and words not. And so for, oh my gosh, almost 2 years now, I've been putting these words in there. If I know them, it goes into words. If I don't know them, hey, guess where they go? Words not. And so I'm going to deal with that in a little bit. Right now, top of the show, I always love to do this because this is, I'm the one that makes our website here at the Lamb Network. So this is Messianic Lamb Network. .com. It's a little ticker down at the bottom. Wonderful little deal there. And you're looking at our website right now. I'm working on it constantly, trying to make. Now looky there. See, now that's me and my daughter. Oh my gosh, a long time ago, and we did this thing called the Everything Skit. And I mean, hundreds of churches have done it. All kinds of different people have done this format of this skit. But as you can see, this has a messianic twist to it. So if you have not seen this video of me and my daughter doing this skit, I highly suggest you get yourself over there and go check it out. And if you have seen it, go check it out again, because it's pretty amazing, even if I do have to say so myself. And so we've got all kinds of other stuff. We got the news. See, now I've even changed this to watch now several reports. We just keep getting flooded in with news reports. Mr. John Craig being one of the biggest culprits of this. And so I make these. Now, if you can see down here, as we scroll down, the next thing you see is looking for something to watch. You know, a lot of people watch Netflix or Hulu, Amazon Prime. Maybe they watch regular primetime TV, you know, and they watch different shows, and they kind of lose track of them or lose interest in them, which most of us should anyway. And you're looking for something to watch. Go to MessianicLambNetwork.com. And you'll see right there, right under this big old banner right there, it says looking for something to watch. And there's the stuff that'll be happening today. It says watch today's live broadcast on Wednesday, January 15th. That is today, believe it or not. And those are the 4 live shows. See, when you hover over them, now if I clicked on that, we'd go into eternity. You'd be able to see us going all the way to heavens, what we'd be able to see. But now, you know, so we've already had War Room. We're doing Compass of kraM now. This evening, Abigail O'Hare, who is waiting in the she's in the green room right now, waiting to come on. She's going to be on a little bit later. Her and her husband do Israel My Delight, and she does the hidden voice of Hadassah. But if you hover over, like say for instance, I click on this, what are you going to get? Well, what you're going to get is you're going to get their banner, you're going to get their name, you're going to get the time of their broadcast, whatever. That's if you're in the United States, you know, it'll tell you. And then you just click on that link. Actually, I can click on that link right there, and it'll go to this page, and it'll say it's live in 8 hours, live in 8 hours, live in 8 hours. See there, right there. I mean, you can't watch it because it's not in real time. You know what I mean? And so, but I mean, if I clicked on this once again, eternity. So there you go. So there's those. And if you're like, say, in this evening and you're looking for something to watch, you can watch those live shows. You can watch us later. And below that, watch now, our special selections below. Look at all these. Look at all these. Look at all these. See what they say. John Craig, John Craig, John Craig, John Craig. What is the deal with him, man? He is everywhere on this thing. But just all kinds of different shows. We have different segments from the next chapter, all kinds of stuff. This crazy thing here. Okay, anyway, there we go. That's the website. don't use YouTube. It just don't use it. It's not worth the trouble to go over to YouTube and try to watch the shows. People, they're right here. They're right there on the website. Besides, you can find all the show information. You can meet the show host. You'll get all that information right there from the website. That is, what is it? Where's it at? Look, there it goes. See, there it goes again. MessianicLambNetwork.com. Look. See, there it goes. So anyway, that's what you want. And if you can't figure it out, MessianicLambNetwork.com. That's who we are. Okay, so there's the website. Now, another little thing that I'm gonna start doing on this show is and you might, now this is for Amariah. So Amariah, if you're watching right now, see, now it's so funny because I bought this Play-Doh at Walmart. But the first thing that you need to know is that it's for evil parents is what it is, because I as a 65-year-old adult, I can't get into it. The plastic the plastic just comes off in little shreds there, and I have already spent probably 15-20 minutes trying to get in. Look, I finally get in there. Last night I was trying to get in there, and my gosh, that plastic that comes around there, that is just evil is what it is, because it causes frustration. Look at this. Looky here. So now, can adults play with Play-Doh? Well, of course they can play with Play-Doh. Look at this. Look at this. You can, what I like to make is cylindrical little devices like this, because, if someday I just happen to switch over and I want to be a flat earther, then I would believe that the flat earth would look somewhat, there's a 3D. Can you believe it? Right here on the compass of kraM, we actually have 3D. Woo! So if that was flat earth, then this would be the shape of the earth right there. And as it's spinning through space, see, like that. And I believe that if the earth was flat, it would be orange like that also. So you would have all the people up here on the top. They're like in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, all that kind of stuff. And then over on the other side, you'd have Israel and Russia and Iran and Iraq and all those over the other side. And you would literally, there's a movie that it's an apocalyptic movie. I'm going to have to look that up. I'll have that for you next week, where they did. That's exactly what it was some countries were there, and they literally drilled they drilled right through the middle of it and came out the other side. Look at there, came out the other side, and they ran elevators through the earth, and so you could see at all the country. Never mind. Okay, so there's Play-Doh for today, and we'll have Play-Doh from week to week. A little bit of Play-Doh stuff there. Okay. So now, see, I do that. I'm doing that part because I do have guests today. Believe it or not, they are coming in. But since they don't have actual Play-Doh, I could have had them go buy some Play-Doh. If you're going to be on the show, buy some Play-Doh. We'll create things together. But I didn't do that. So anyway, here we are. What's the next thing on my list? Okay. In Revelation 6:6, it says, in the New International Version, it says, "Then I heard what sounded," I got to read this as though it comes across. "Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living." Have you ever heard what is it, those the scriptures that are being read by people, and they are like very dramatic when they're reading the scriptures. I love those things. And they would go like this. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Now, why am I reading that? Let me just tell you what. Now, I have heard for years that, and I guess I never looked it up because I always just accepted it, is that in the future, there would be that we would have to buy bread, or bread would cost as much as a day's wages. And I can't find that. I didn't see that anywhere. Now, this comes, if you look that up, if you do a Google search, you'll find that it always puts up Revelation 6:6. And I mean, you can do a search for a day's wages would buy a loaf of bread or something like that. And it's just not there. But I mean, maybe my guests, hey, if my guests come in, they can let me know. But so anyway, I'm at Home Depot this past week buying paint and some stuff because we're doing a little remodeling here. And so whenever you go through the checkout counter, they have these impulse items. And of course, impulse items, I do pretty good when I go through the checkout, and I'm checking out. Here's the you're running through your scanner, your little scanner over it, and your impulse items are over here on the side, and most people need to kind of get a little curtain or something that hangs off of your glasses like this or something, so you don't see the impulse items over there. Now, so I have a weakness for paydays. Okay, I have a weakness for paydays, and there you go. And so I bought a payday. I didn't look at the price, but I went ahead and scanned it through. And of course, once I scanned it, I had to pay for the stinking thing. And I cannot believe this. Maybe you can read this. Now, this is my receipt. Can you see that? Will that focus on there? $2.38 for a stinking payday. So I believe Revelation 6:6 should say that someday in the future, it will be a payday for a day's wages. Of course, I know that's an exaggeration and all, but still, $2.38 for, and I mean, it's the same thing if you buy practically anything. And they're like, I mean, it depends on how many buy. And as you can see, okay, I've eaten part of it, but I was going to try to get the whole thing. But, I bought this 3 or 4 days ago, and I was going to try to do it on the show today. And it sat there. And of course, my eyes are going, oh man, look at that payday. That sucker looks so good. And so, I ate part of it. But anyway, a day's wages for a payday. Hold up. Wait, is that redundant? Is that redundant? A day's anyway, moving on here. Here's one more thought before I bring in some. I got thoughts and a thought. Here's the thought I was thinking about a couple of days ago, and so I wrote it down. I write down. I got notes. I got notepads everywhere because at 65 you got to write things down just in case you're not. If you're only 64 and 11 months old, you don't really have to deal with this. But once you reach 65, buy yourself some pads. Notepads, all kinds of pads, and leave them everywhere because you really got to write things down. So I wrote this down, and it says, if you think you're not all there, are you really not all there? Now, that's pretty intense. I mean, it kind of goes along with, if you think you're crazy, are you really crazy? If you get tested for being crazy, if you don't agree with the test, then really are you crazy, or are you sane because you don't? So it kind of goes along the same thing. Just a little something to give you thought for the day. That would be my thought for today. And it's if you think you're not all there, are you really not all there? All right. So I'm going to bring in some guests, and I have several guests that are wanting to join. Some are I don't have that many different. We got guests. And so let me bring in my first now. Abigail here has caught you. I don't know what you were doing there, but I just brought you in, and there you were busy with something. You don't have to put it away. Whatever we're doing, you can do it on air here. So hi, Abigail. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I are good.
I like your intro.
You like my intro?
Yeah.
Welcome back, my friend.
No, but I like all the information on payday. I think that's a good connection between Revelation. Yeah, payday.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it a day's wages for a payday? What do you think of that?
Interesting. That's an expensive little treat there too, huh? Wow.
It is. It's just beyond. It's even beyond discussion. You just want to it's beyond discussion. That's the way I look at things. So good. I'm glad you're on. Last week she was on. Oh, she was on the first show too with her husband James, and she actually got to play the Compass of kraM game. And do you remember what we talked about?
I do. The levels of sin.
Oh no.
Deep subject. Deep subject.
Deep subject. And so that only goes to show you that if you think you're just going, let me move, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this over here. See, then if I do that, see, now I'm looking at my screen, but it kind of looks like I'm looking at you.
I have to go like this, right?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to, but I mean, that's the only way that I can do it is see, because I have 3 monitors. And I mean, if I put it over in the middle, then I'm looking directly at the camera. If I put it over here, then I'm actually looking away from you. So I just switch it around. So I don't even try to figure it out. It's not there. Hey, did you notice that my hat actually matches my shirt today?
You're coordinated. Look at you.
Now,
yes.
The first hat I had on this morning, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but you might like this hat. The first hat I had on.
Woohoo!
Look at that.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
I love that hat. Yes.
Yeah, I do too. See that you can almost even tell what it says. I think.
Yeah, you can. It's awesome. All the way from Boston too. Israel and Boston. Round trip.
I mean. So, we'll see. Let's just do hats today. See, you see there. What do you think of that hat right there?
Very nice.
Very nice. Well, the problem is that those hats don't match my shirt, and my hair is gone wacko. So anyway, I settled for this, the green and the green, and I look
very nice.
I look like camo today. Can you actually see me? Because I'm really camouflaged. Can you actually see me?
I can see you. You can run, but you can't hide, Mark.
Camouflage really just doesn't do its job. It just doesn't, because it's supposed to camouflage. It's supposed to block your sight from stuff. But I have found it's so funny because you see these hunters and everything walking through. Well, let's just bring John in. Let's ask John about this. Looky here. See, I don't even say, "Hey, John and Sandy, I'm bringing you in," before to get you ready. See, I just bring you in. And it's just like Abigail. Abigail was busy reading her book probably, and I just brought her in, and so I can't hear you. Hello. Hello?
Good morning.
There we go. Oh, we got Mariah with us too. We just can't see Mariah. So
Come here,
right.
Mariah. See everybody. Oh no, mine.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, say hi. Look, there's Abigail.
you got,
Oh, Mariah.
you got,
Oh, Mariah.
Can you say hi? Look,
Say
tickle
hi.
her.
Wow, look at how much you've grown. Look at you.
She's tickling you.
Oh,
oh, we don't
you
eat
get the
on
right
camera.
score. Woohoo.
No, we don't eat on camera, Mariah. No, that's. Oh, okay. I'll eat too then. No. Anyway, so John, I got a specific question for you, brother. You have any camo attire?
I have. Do I have any kind?
No, but I do.
I do. I have camo shorts, but they're
Okay,
gray
well,
camo.
moving on. No, you don't really?
Yeah, that's true.
I do.
You do?
I have
You
a
wear-
hat, a jacket, pants.
Okay, so have you ever wore your camo attire and people not actually be able to see you?
It's never happened, but I have only worn it for a skit.
I'm just telling you, camo doesn't work.
Especially not here where it's all just. I have green camo and it's all brown here, so.
It's amazing if you walk through clothing stores. Well, maybe not Macy's. I don't know if Macy's carry. You ought to look that up. See if Macy's carries camo.
Mine.
That would be a good one. But you walk through like Walmart or Target or any of those stores, which I'm not advocating to buy from, by the way. But if you walk through those stores, I mean, they're just packed full of camo, racks and racks. Sorry, something got down my throat. But yet, every time I've seen somebody wear camo, I can see you. You know, you don't really. I don't know. I don't get it. You know, I mean, if you're gonna wear it out to hunt. Let me tell you what, those animals, I'm just here to tell you, the animals can see you. Okay, so, okay, I'm probably going to get sued by all the camo manufacturing companies now, but that, you know, that's just one of those things. So, okay, so here's what I do, and I've got it now. See, I've got this over here, and okay, so what I do is I said at the beginning of the show, and I'd like you guys to go with me on this, is that I've got this folder that is words and then folder that's words not. And so I'm just going to we're going to do words first. I'm not looking. My finger is spinning back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm going to click on one. Now, what did I click on? Oh, chowder. The word today is chowder. So, Abigail, what do you think of chowder? Can you define Can you actually define the word chowder? The word is chowder.
Okay, well, up here in New England, chowder is like a thick soup. It's a soup that has like a creamy broth, like clam chowder, unclean, but it tastes good. Corn chowder, fish chowder. It just seems to have a broth that's made more with maybe flour, added flour to it, or milk or cream.
Okay.
But that's how I see chowder. Chowder.
Chowder. Yeah, it seems like when I think of chowder, that it comes from the Northeast. It's almost like I think they created chowder up there or something. I don't know. So can you guys turn your mic on? You're muted. both. Do you guys agree that that's a good definition of chowder, or would you like to add to that, or subtract from it, or
I need to add.
We do add to or take away from on the show.
I'll add to it. See, you have to go back to its ancient roots. See, and it's like chowder, chowder, chow pain, chow food, I eat chow.
Oh,
It's
Chinese.
I eat chow. It's something that you place in your mouth, and Okay. So it relates to food. I agree with Abigail. And and it's so obvious. We just say "der."
Duh.
So I used to say "der" when I was a kid. "Der," and then it became "duh." Huh?
Your accent, though, when you were describing it, kind of had a Chinese accent.
It did because there's like chicken chowder and chicken chow mein. Chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
No?
I think you're spinning something.
Steak chow mein.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
Beef chow mein.
it could be a Mandarin word, and if I used it in a sentence speaking Mandarin, it would be chowder. That's using the word chowder in Mandarin.
But be careful because you almost said something offensive.
Well, see, that's really, I only know offensive words in Chinese anyway. So, who knows? I have no idea what I said.
What you said is, beware of the man with green hair eating chowder on the
seaside,
on the longhorn steer.
Okay. Oh, well, longhorn steer and seaside are basically the same word in Mandarin.
Yeah. Okay. I get that.
Okay. Very good. All right. So there we go. That's our word for the day. And let's see. I'm actually going to give you the definition. It is a thick seafood soup, usually containing corn and potatoes. Potatoes is the one word I don't think anybody used today. So, but everything else, pretty much lined up. That's
I don't eat chowder.
Here, do you want to hear the word? Here it is. Oh, it wouldn't play. I'm sorry. The word is chowder. Okay. Now we're going to pick a word not. And so I'm spinning, I'm not looking, and I clicked on it. Okay, the word not. Oh, interesting. Here's a word. August. The word is August. So, who would, Abigail, I'll let you go first again. Can you give me the definition of the word August?
Well, it's the 8th month on the Gregorian calendar.
Nope, not according to this. It's
It also could be a name of a person, right?
yeah. Okay. Okay. August without the capital A. Let's do that. See, these are words not, so I don't even know what these are, but it's August without a capital A. Any idea?
No, I just know it as a season. No.
No. Okay, John and Sandy, Sandy, or Amariah. If Amariah knows the definition of this word, it's fine.
All right. Well, August. He was a very august man.
No, august man.
Yeah. So it's like big, bold, in your face.
Wow.
I don't know if that's the definition.
So actually, this
I should
word,
know it. I should know that word because we had this in our English classes in high school, all the way from junior high through high school. We had a part of that class was called word wealth, and we had to study 20 words
very cool.
every week, definitions, usage, and all that sort of thing. And that was in my list. I know the word. I don't ever use it. So now I'm like, where in those cobwebs can I find that definition and use it properly?
I love it. I love it. So I get these words one a day, and whether I know them or not, I always try to figure it out. So actually, John, I'll just do this. It's fine. I muted you guys, so you'll have to unmute when you come back. So the word August, and he was almost dead on. It's regal, majestic, imposing, or grandiose. So there you go, big time, brother. You got it, man. It's you used it in a word, right? Let's just put it that way. But grandiose, that type of thing. Very good, cool. I like it. So we'll try to use August in our words today sometime, during here. So all right, moving on. Now you guys, I watch movies, and so and TV shows. There's some shows that just specialty shows that I like to watch. And I watched a new one, brand new, just came out on DVD last night, called Gemini Man. And this is the new Will Smith movie. And it is PG-13, by the way. I think, and it's an action movie. And it was actually really good. I only heard like one or two derogatory words in this movie, and the movie is okay. Now Gemini, I understand to mean the word twin. So if you're into all of that, those words, which I'm not at all, Gemini meaning twin. So what the movie is about, and I'm gonna, if you don't want to hear this, if I'm gonna break your you want to watch this movie and you don't want to know what it's about, I'm not going to give you the end, but I give you a generalization. You watch the trailer and get this much out of it. Will Smith's character is like a hitman that wants to retire, but he can't because the guy that made him, who he is, cloned him. And so what you see in the movie is Will Smith playing both parts, but the clone of Will Smith is CGI'd in to make him look like 23 years old, and he's playing a 51-year-old man. The movie was okay. I'm giving it an okay rating, and I'm also giving it, if you like action movies, you like Will Smith, then yeah, I recommend it. You can watch it. It's decent enough that there's no nudity or even, they don't even try to be anything like that. Will Smith usually does some real decent movies when it comes along that way, but it was okay. It's just, here's my point. One of the reasons I'm wanting to bring this up is that they seem to be, it seems to be a theme anymore among movies to do cloning, and I don't get it. I mean, there is several movies and TV shows that are about cloning, and I don't understand the reason for that. I know that possibly in the future they could, but it seems to be a highlighted theme. And so anyway, that's kind of, I mean, if anybody wants to respond to that, you can. I'm not asking for responses or anything like that. So yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, it kind of brings up a very interesting ethical question is in relating to a clone. If there's a human clone, think about this. a clone would be a creation of man.
Yeah.
So does that clone have rights?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you made me think about there, because it's like, can a clone retire? Is a clone a slave? Is he simply a patented object of the lab, where he has to do what they created it to do, and therefore, no matter what, it must, or that creature must do what it's told to do and function the way it was designed to function?
But I think we're missing the point. Why are there so many movies? It's because they're already doing it. Remember, the movie sort of the powers that be let everybody know what's going on through media.
Well,
Yeah.
so there was another movie that's called Replicas,
Right.
and
Right.
that has
All
to do
that
with
not too long ago.
right. And so the reality of it was, well, the company where they used the equipment to make the clones, which you reclone, spoiler alert, he recloned his family. And so does the family belong to the company, or does it belong to the man who recreated his family?
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, it's a God thing too. In other words, we're playing God. Of all the things that there is of God is that his creation of life, period, is massive. So to be able to create a life and have it live like that is, I mean, plants, I love plants because it is a life that comes forth, from out of the earth. But a human being, or even a sheep or whatever that you create like that, that's literally playing God. And it's like, I can't handle that aspect of it. So, Abigail, want to join you?
Yeah, I'm going to do another spin on this.
Sure.
Because
We like spins.
the reason I'm saying that, because you pointed it out at the very beginning, the sixth house in the solar system is Gemini, and on the sixth day, God created man and beast.
Very good.
And so it's interesting that they're using that, because there's a lot of spiritual consistency with the Gemini. I'm not talking astrology. I'm talking more like the heavens declare the glory of God. And so the sixth day was creation of man and beast. And it's interesting how the world will try to pull out things that are a counterfeit. But there is that very interesting depth of man and beast being created on the same day. And it just seems to constantly be a battle going on in the minds of all of us, as far as keeping ourselves separated from the beast and being more created in the image of God. And that, so I just see it as, I mean, I know this is a different movie. I mean, a different message.
No, I think I think they know what they're doing. I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So I just think it's it's amazing how that they just will always use, they'll pull out a counterfeit. They don't even know it's a counterfeit. They have no idea. It's almost like the enemy is just using them to try to create confusion and deception. But if you look at it on a layer of creation, you can find some layers of truth in there and whatnot. But anyhow, that's how I saw it.
That's good. That's very good.
Well,
I'm with you. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was also going to throw this in. That's very interesting, Abigail, because of the, just the whole aspect of are we, we can either be beast or human. It's really our choice. But the other thing is can a clone have a soul? So if a clone is not, if it is created in a lab, it's a replica of a person, so to speak, in this case, then does it even have a soul? Then if it doesn't have a soul, which is, related to the mind, the will, the emotions, soul, which, that is connected to our spirit, that's eternal, then if it doesn't have that, then what's animating it?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thought is that there's disembodied spirits that want to inhabit a body. So truly, we were talking about this the other night at Life of Worship, is then there are familiar spirits that know us. They've been around us. They've been in our generations, that can replicate our soul, our mind, our will, emotions, our personality, the way we walk, the way we handle ourselves, the way we talk, a complete mimicking of it. If a familiar spirit inhabits, or multiple spirits inhabits that clone, I mean, we're really getting out there. But then can that, it's not even a person. It is a beast, and it's being it's just being a body housing a demonic presence. So there's
let's just say that these clones, they can, and like Sandy says, she believes they already are, and what this movie depicts also, which is also come to mind, they've talked about this publicly, is that if you can create a clone and multiple clones for an army, and it's like in this movie that one of the clones created was literally for battle. That's all it was created for, and raised, up to a certain age. And it was a clone of a person that could do anything. I mean, he was the best shot at everything, the best warrior that this company had and everything. And so they created his clone to be tenfold better than him. And if they could create multiple ones, they could care less if they died, because they have no human connection to them. And so they could create, all they have to do is just keep creating. But that in itself even kind of bothers me, because I don't think that we're really going to be physically at war much anymore, as much as we are technology war, and so I don't know what they call that, but I know there's a word for it. But anyway, that's my take on that. So anything else anybody wants to add?
I just want to say that to me, it just seems like it's again, it's a deception, because when you look at human beings, again, and we all have a function, and there's a specific function that there's a gifts and callings that are within us. So they're trying again to pull from that and saying this particular one has this clone is for warfare, And so I just see that there will always be some form, if we look at everything, the movies and everything, that there's that almost like whoever it is that wrote this, it was like something was stirring in them, and maybe they were trying to understand creation, and us being created and they may look at, if you're religious, you're just a clone, where it's quite the contrary, because we're not robots. We have reasoning, we can make choices, and we may be made in the image, in the image of the Most High, but we have choices to make. We're not robots. And so I just think the world has a way of, again, putting that kind of information out there, and people that don't read the word or aren't walking with the Lord, they can see that and say, see, that's why I don't get involved with religion, because there's a bunch of clones out there. They're all doing the same thing. And, I'm just singing that on that level, and I see that there's always that kind of a spin. And I feel like I'm always trying to, when I talk to people who watch these movies and they're not in the word, and they're really all caught up in it, like Disney World, that fantasy, they get caught up in fantasy about princes and kings and queens, when we do have a king, so anyhow, I just say there is a king, there is a kingdom, and it's not Disney World, but anyhow, so I'm always feeling like I'm trying to bring reality and spiritual understanding to people, because they get caught up in the world's perspective, as opposed to seeing it through the eyes of the Creator and what we're all about.
Very well put. It's one of those things. I I love to watch the movie, but in my head, when I'm watching a movie like this, I'm analyzing it based on the Word of God, and that's kind of my I don't know. That's where I'm at. Anyway, I think this is great. We to discuss through this. All right. So Sandy. Oh, there's Sandy. Oh, that's right. So what did you do? Give her a sleeping pill or something?
No, I went and turned on a show in our bedroom.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so
And
would
she's
you like?
putting, uh-oh, here she comes.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Bye. Okay, so we're probably not going to get to the spin today because I want to talk about this, but it's fine. This show's all about whatever happens, and if we got nothing else to talk about, we'll do a compass spin. But I want to talk about this. This is very big deal to me. I found this article, and so we need to talk about this. Though I'm not so sure we need to talk about it. But I want to. Can pork be made kosher? Jewish scholars thinks is possible. So let me just read for you here, just the top lines of it. For the first time in thousands of years, the power of modern technology may pave the way for kosher Jews to taste pork. It's an idea that influential rabbis have been pondering in recent months as the scientists behind cell cultured meat. Now, is that not cloning? Cell cultured meat edge closer to the point at which their products will be ready for restaurants and grocery stores because of the way these scientists are cultivating animal cells to grow into high-tech meat called clean meat. In the industry, it may allow them to circumvent religious laws that have long prohibited Jews from eating pork. Now, what I want to do is, here we go. Let me just go to this. Now, I also found an article here. Let's do this. Now, this is an article, Can Pork Ever Be Kosher? And it's from Rabbi Daniel Lapin. It says, we are choosing to answer your question because you are not alone in your misconception about kosher food. The mistake you make is quite common, but is based on a completely incorrect basic premise. Not eating pig has nothing to do with it being a scavenger. The prohibition is based on Leviticus 11:7, where God specifically forbids it with no reason given. That animal is singled out and mentioned by name because it has one of the two signs that mark an animal as kosher. Pigs have split hooves, but do not chew the cud. So let's just take it from there. I want to go away from that, and you're welcome to look those up. This is at Rabbi Daniel Lapin, LAPIN.com. You can look that up. The loophole is at QZ.com. Quartz is quartz.com or QZ.com. So you can go look those up if you want to. It wouldn't make any difference whether or not to me, it sounds like the same technology as what we're talking about with cloning. And that's why I wanted to jump right into this. Maybe it's not the same technology, but it is the same kind of thing. You're just regenetically, scientists making these things work so that they can supply something that don't need to be supplied. It's like if you're really craving pork all that much, go out and stink and eat pork. I'm not advocating, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's between you and God. you're just going against what God said to do. So if that's where your mindset is, then maybe you just need to get saved. Anyway, that's my point. I'm sticking to it. John, I'm going to jump to you first.
Well, my first question is, why are we wanting to? Why is the world trying to help us break the commandments? I mean, I mean, honestly, why are they so concerned whether they can make a way for us to eat pork? I mean, pork's never been food. It's just, that's what the scripture says. It's not food. And then, so it brings to the next conclusion: is lab grown stuff, is it food? I mean, we're supposed to eat food, right? We're not supposed to try to create food. Look at the Star Trek series. You just punch in the button. I want, chicken marsala, and it goes in and it gives you synthetic food. Is that food? What's the body designed to do? Of course, we can talk about all the reasons why pork is bad on a scientific level, but the point of the matter is, and I think the rabbi is correct, is there's a prohibition. The prohibition is not because God's keeping something from us. He's protecting us. He says, and Yeshua said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. So it's an act of love that he told us not to eat something that we can't metabolize, something that's going to hurt us. It's going to harm us. It's love. And so my respect and love for him is to say, oh, you're so right.
Exactly.
I'm going to follow what you said. So lab grown or not, it doesn't seem like I don't need help still trying to make a decision when I go to the store saying, look at the package, lab grown meat or whatever it is, pig, synthetic pig, they'll give it, porkish, I don't care.
So they mix a little pork with a little non-pork, a little GMO pork.
Yeah.
Because it is, I guess, from what I read, it's genetically modified. So yeah. I think is really what it is. I mean, we're trying not to eat genetically modified lettuce. So why eat genetically modified pig?
Yeah.
Abigail, you're just chomping at the bit to get on this
well,
one.
Actually, I totally agree with what John said. Totally. I mean, it's like it's written, it's not food. That's the bottom line. It is not food. And it's just wisdom not to put anything in your body that is not going to bring about the effects of good eating, a healthy immune system and everything. I mean, actually, I've shown people, that's another thing, I spend time and I would show people some of the adverse effects of eating pork and what it looks like and all the parasites that are in it. And that number one is I say, God said, don't eat it. He said it because he loves us and he wants us to stay healthy. He gave us all these other foods to eat, all these greens and seeds and other meats and fish you can eat, So to me, it's just a rebellious nature that's trying to surface again. If God's in, it's that psychology. My mother used to always say, reverse psychology. Don't do this. And right away, the mind wants to do it. Whether you're Jewish or whether you're Hebrew or whatever you are, when the minute you say you can't have this, what happens? I really want this. I really want this. But the Father says, I give you what you need, not what you want. But there goes the beast again in us. The beast is always battling with with what's there you go. And so I just think it's a rebellious nature. I mean, I have a lot of Jewish family, and a lot of my Jewish family have not stuck with the dietary laws. I mean, we'll go out to restaurants and I'll be watching them eat and I'm like, you gotta be kidding, And so, but it's a choice, and the thing is the consequences to making wrong choices. That to me is the plague. It's scientifically, it's proven eating lobster and the shellfish and the pork and all that, it has an effect on your cholesterol. Pork and the parasites have major effects. I mean, if you saw what goes into your body when you eat that, it is like you wouldn't, you just, and anyone with common sense and says, I want to stick around for a while, I want to be healthy, would not eat it. God's, as Brad Scott always says, God is smarter than us. If he says don't do it, you know, once I got kicked out of we were teaching at a church, and we were holding Sabbath there for many years, and we'd go through the Pasha reading. And when we came to the dietary laws, I would say to them, now listen to me. I'm going to say this many times because I don't want you running to the pastor of this church saying that I said, if you eat pork or lobster, you've lost your salvation. That's not what it says here. God says, if you eat this, it's not food. And what does common sense would say? If it's not food, why would I put it in my body if I want to stay healthy? Right. So I repeated that several times during this Shabbat. Didn't one of the little people that were there go running to the pastor and say, oh, guess what we heard? If we eat lobster or pork, we're not saved anymore. Yeah. So I got pulled into the office, and they brought me, and a rabbi in there too. And they said, what did you say? And I said, I know exactly who ran into you. And I said, I have witnesses that I said it at least 10 to 12 times. It has nothing to do with your salvation. Right. It has everything to do with your health. Right. I mean, if you do that, you're going to suffer the consequences. Right. But anyhow, so
well, that's why I say it's if you want to do it, go do it. I mean, I'm not going to.
It's just going to have an effect on your health.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've said many times, I lost count when talking to people about this, and every one of us have talked to people about this, is that my best explanation, without going even into scripture, is, let's say you have the mechanical ability to create a motor, okay, an engine, say even a car engine. Now, there are several different kinds of fuel that can make that engine run. You got gasoline, kerosene, I mean, John can probably mention several others, but there's a lot of different kinds of fuel that can, if you have a motor or an engine, it can't just sit there and run. It has to have fuel coming in. And when it runs out of fuel, it no longer runs, and it won't start until you get that fuel in there. So if a man creates an engine, he creates that engine knowing, actually building it so that a certain type of fuel is going to cause that engine to run. If it's a gasoline engine, you don't want to pour kerosene in there. I don't know. I think kerosene will run a gasoline, but not for long or whatever. If you have an unleaded engine, you don't want to pour leaded in there. It's what am I trying to think of? At the pump, you can buy a couple of different kinds. The words don't come to me anymore. John, what is it when you're buying
diesel? Yeah, you don't want to put diesel.
You don't want to put diesel in your regular gasoline engine. Yeah. You can't do that. So, I mean, get the point here. God created our bodies, and do you believe that God created your body and my body? Yes. The answer is always yes. Then don't you think God knows the fuel that is going to make our body run? And if we put the wrong fuel into this engine, will it not run bad and eventually kick off before it's even supposed to kick off? And of course, everybody agrees with you. Well, then what's the debate? If God says this is the fuel that you put in, and here, let me just show this one more time. I highlighted this so you can see, which I think is the biggest reason here is, in my estimation anyway. Can you see this? It says God specifically forbids it with no reason given. In my point of view, God doesn't have to give me a reason. If God says it, that's why I'm doing it. Period. And so,
but he did start off talking about what food is, and that's the key. He said, "This is the food," and then he describes what's not food and what is food, and that just solidifies it. I mean, God, he said, "This is the food that I've given you to live on."
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm with you. So interesting, and it's the same. It's interesting that we can talk about the same subject in about 14 million different perspectives, and it's the simple fact that stinking rabbis are trying to make pork. I had this wonderful joke, and it goes right along with this. There's this rabbi that has always he's later on in years, and he knows that he's going to be replaced by another younger rabbi and everything, and he's gone for years. He's lived his entire life. He's never eaten pork, and he's thinking, I would really like to try it one time before I die. And so he's got his whole synagogue in this one town, and a few miles away is another town with this great recommended restaurant. So he goes into this restaurant by himself. He's sitting in the booth just so that he can see the front door, just in case somebody he knows walks into the front door. So he's sitting there, and he orders his pork, and he's sitting there, and he's all nervous, of course, because he knows he shouldn't be eating pork, but he's sitting there, he's watching the front door and watching to see if the waiter's coming or whatever. And all of a sudden, of course, out of nowhere, in walks in the front door an entire family from his synagogue. One of his, whole family that he stands in front of every week. And they walk in, and he's trying to hide and everything. And right away, they're walking by, and they see him, Rabbi, it's so good to see you, so good to see you. And at exactly the same time, the waiter brings his big tray of this pig with an apple in its mouth. And he looks at his people from his synagogue, and he says, Oi, you order an apple, and look how they bring it.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, there you go. So
Yeah.
I always love that joke. Always love that joke. Very good one. So anyway, it looks like Amariah is having a nice little. Is she doing a parade? Are you guys doing a parade?
I'm just going where she goes. I think next time we're going to come in a little bit later, so we have her. She had waited for like 45 minutes, so
it's okay.
Yeah, next time we'll come in a little bit later.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll work it out. We just love having you when you can make it. And
you want to say hi one more time?
Anyway.
Amariah.
Hi. Can you wave?
Amariah.
Can you sing them your name? You want to sing it?
Amariah.
Hi.
Hi.
Lammy.
Hi.
Amariah, see Lammy?
Look at that.
Hi, Amariah.
What's the sheep?
Hi, Amariah. Hi.
What's the
Hi. You are cute. Hi, Amariah. Yes.
She thinks she can get it.
She wants it.
She wants it.
Sandy, something I would like to do on future broadcasts is have you give me headlines that I don't know the story of.
Oh, I'll gladly do that.
Anytime when you can come in. And so I thought I've got it on my list today because I was hoping you'd come in. And so what we used to do on Only Visiting This Planet is Sandy would bring me a headline out of the news, and it's a real headline, not fake news. But she wouldn't bring me the story. And I would have to figure out what the story was or see what I thought the story was just from the headlines. And then we'd see how close we would come to it. But I was almost dead on every time, wasn't I, Sandy?
Oh, I'm not even gonna.
Um,
Yeah, well, I'm
No,
just.
your answer is don't get me to lying.
Yeah.
I will say it's very creative.
Yeah,
I love that. And like I said, I think she did really good. We came in at like 20 till, and she was good till about half after the hour. So I think we'll be good for a short little bit of time later down the road. So we can do that.
Can I tell you exactly what the situation is? She knows that we're broadcasting, and she's like the rest of us. She wants to be in front of the camera, and she wants to be, out there, and like all the rest of us. She's got the gift of gab. She wants to be on the video. So
she is a ham.
No,
toast your hand.
well, I will say this: she is not shy. She gets
John.
up. She gets up in front of the congregation and gets on mic and speaks and sings and then no, you don't need it. You say hello on the mic. Say hi.
Hi, there we go. Mariah. Wow, very cool. See, she's a future show host on the Messianic Clam Network. We know that for a fact. So, John, if you call her a ham, did you not listen to a word of the last segment?
well,
clone, maybe.
I'm gonna throw that in since we're talking about pig.
Right, I get you.
I'm not gonna eat Mariah.
I know.
See, I'm not. She's not kosher
either.
Okay, on these last few minutes, John, I want you to tell us about, you had an interview on your show yesterday. Can you tell us about that interview at the last bringing the Brit Hadashah portion of your show yesterday, or the day before, on Monday?
Yeah. So we had this grandson of one of the Magi came in and blessed us with his presence. He was really old.
Really old.
Really old. Real long gray beard. His hair is all grown out and everything. And he made a special appearance for us to tell us the real news behind the Brit Hadashah portion for this week. Yeah, the birth of Yeshua. So very, and he had this really interesting headdress on, and it came with its own white label, and that you had to wear in the front. And so
something like this.
Something like that. Yeah.
I got mine down at the Magi store.
You did? Okay.
The Magi.
You wore the label on the other side.
Anyway, that interview is on the website now. So if you want to see this interview, let's do this real quick. I'm going to show here on the website. And so if you'll go to the website, the very first thing, actually, let's get past this. There we go. It'll come up. Okay. So see, those are the mountains there where the Magi had to cross. Oh, come on. You're supposed to hover over that. It's supposed to stay there. Anyway, the very first one that comes up is this. And there you go. And so there's the Magi's grandson. You can click on that and watch that. And that was quite the interview you did there, John. So let me get that there.
It was a very surprise guest appearance. What a wonderful treat that was.
The Magi's
grandson. Whet my appetite as to what the Magi brought forth. Just a little tease.
Oh, okay, John. If you want to say, otherwise, I can let her know.
I'm telling you, that passage from Matthew chapter 2, he filled in all of the gaps in between the lines. So, see, that's just a brief summation of what happened. But he came in and told us the details
So John read the portion of Matthew 2:1-12, and he would stop John every so often and fill him in on what really happened, because he has this video that his father's grandfather's name was Larry, and if you didn't know it, the three wise men's names were Jimmy, Joe, Bob, Larry, and Randy. And Larry was his grandfather, and his grandfather made a video of what really happened, but they don't want to make it public. They've stored it away in the government artifacts storage facility, so it won't be lost, So anyway, he's watched the video, and now he reveals the things that really happened during that time.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And the man's name, the grandson's name, is Oscar Carl Delacroix, and his friends call him OCD. Not because he is OCD; it's because his name is Oscar Carl Delacroix. Anyway, so
every
all right.
detail was very important to him.
Very, very important. All right. So for the compass of kraM today, and gosh, I really appreciate you guys being on here, and Sandy and Amariah also. Very nice of everybody to bring their presence into the show, and so I appreciate it. And next week we will continue on with more serious things that we all need to know about, because we've covered several things. And also I will be segmenting some of these out so that you can see the different, you can come back and watch some of the little things out of there. So anyway, love you guys, and thank you very much for joining, Abigail. Appreciate
it was a pleasure. I loved it. And it was good seeing you again, John and Sandy and Amariah.
Very cool.
Very cool. You too, Abigail. By the way, Mark, just so you know, in that you ate your payday, but you're breaking it up into multiple times. So really, like if you ate the first part yesterday and the other part today, it's only $1.19 a session. Just very well said. I didn't want you to worry about that 238 too much.
I'm really not worried about it. What I'm worried about is that it's a day's wages for a payday, and within that right there, it just tells it all. That is our whole future from this day forward, is a day's wages for a payday.
$1.19 a day. Wow. Okay.
Yep, there you go. All right. Love you guys. We'll talk to you real soon. See, I've got everything over on the wrong side now. So we'll see y'all soon. We'll see you next week. Same time, same Lamb channel. And thanks a million for joining us. Tell your friends and family about us all. Lane?
Chowder, you August friends.
Love you all.
Be a guest today. I love it.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.